From the 28-yard line of Auburn. Bama going left to right. Bryce gets the snap, knee high. Looks, throws the fade route, near side end zone. Got it! Caught! Touchdown, Alabama! Caught by Ja'Cory Brooks in the end zone.
And Chris Davis takes it in the back of the end zone. He'll run it out to the 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 45. There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game! Auburn's going to win the football game!
And Alabama has come from nowhere to defeat the Auburn Tigers in multiple overtimes.
Episode 10, we made it. Episode 10, Super Bowl week, Tide and Tigers. How was your last week? You mean you went 6-1?
6-1. I didn't win that in my bets. Somehow that did not come out right because I kind of put together some 10-leg parlays, but it did not benefit me like it should have. But my picks were right.
6-1, yeah. So I've been working hard. I mean, I've been down at the Senior Bowl all week, getting interviews for our show, I guess, and then now driving up to Studio G. I mean, I guess when you go 6-1, you don't have to work as hard as the guys that didn't go 6-1.
Never. That's when you're winning, right?
Exactly. So you are winning.
What was yours?
Not good. I'm actually going to take off the Senior Bowl shirt because it's getting
hot,
to where it is getting hot. Yeah. So we're back. Super Bowl week. Tide and Tigers. An exciting week. I can't wait to get to your preview of the game, your picks. We got player props and all kind of things we want to discuss. We're going to get to last weekend first. Couple things. This show has become the show of predictions. Last week, I said NBA has just not been crazy.
Oh.
I haven't watched the game all year. Will something relevant happen? Boom. Luka gets traded to the Lakers.
But did you see that rumor about it possibly being tinfoil hat theory, but they're trying to make them crash so they can get that number one pick coming up?
I'm just going to tell you this right here. The NBA was a part of this at some point.
And to get out of there or something?
I don't know all the details. There's so many conspiracy tinfoil hat things going on. But the NBA, with everything dropping, we called it out last week. Yeah. I mean, we did. And then now you send your biggest star who's 25 years old, averaging 30 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists in his prime, not even in his prime. He's not even got yet to his prime. Send him to the biggest franchise or one of the biggest franchises in the NBA and in the world. And nobody knew about it. His agent, him.
He woke up. He said he laid down for bed and he was like, I got a phone call.
But then he also loses $100 million because he can't sign the Supermax now. This was all done. And of course, the rest of the NBA owners are like, why are we not able to bid on Luka? Why are we, something's fishy about this.
And didn't Luka say he was down because they kept getting rid of everybody he liked, on the training staff and everything else? He said they're getting rid of everybody.
I'm sure he was down too because he just bought a house last week. But to me, what's been the topic of conversation everywhere you go now this week? It's been the NBA.
Yeah. So
they got their wish. But this to me was a top move of all time by Rob Pelinka and the Lakers front office to not let anybody know about it, not even the players. Danny Ainge even said, your boy, he's like, I was a part of the trade and I didn't even know it until 30 minutes before.
Right.
But to get a top 3 player in the universe and to come in before really he's hit his prime to the biggest market and really not give away anything but Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is a heck of a player. I'm not knocking Anthony Davis. But now they've gone from Kobe to LeBron, or Magic, Kobe, LeBron, now to Luka.
Right.
How does that happen? It's just very shocking to me. And again, I think more details will come out soon of how that happened. But again, Luka to the Lakers, Anthony Davis to the Mavericks. That's just, you see the Lakers are 5th in the standings. They weren't having a bad year.
Yeah.
And the Mavericks are, you'll scroll down, the Mavericks are still, I think they're in 8th or 9th, or they're in 10th. So they're right. They're battling to get into the play-in for the playoffs.
But their odds, I think, dropped 1,000 points or something on when they announced the trade. So.
But again, I think now you got Luka and LeBron. Both guys like to handle the ball. How's that going to work out? We talked about that with Pierce and Allen and Rondo when all that happened with the Celtics, or when D-Wade and LeBron and the Heat. Both those situations worked out. Do you think Luka and LeBron are going to work out together?
Something I think has been obvious about LeBron throughout the years is he will dish the ball out and get assists to the people he trusts.
Yes.
When it comes to a team that he keeps doing that and they're losing games, then he takes over, and that's how they still have a winning season. I think with Luka, he's played against him. He knows I can give him the ball and just watch and have fun, and me and him are going to dominate people together. I don't think LeBron cares about being the king anymore. I think he cares about winning championships and ending his career.
Well, and the thing is, too, is NBA's changed so much, they score so much. Two guys can score 30 points. And it's not really an issue. So I think you're right. I think it's going to gel. I think Davis actually fits the Mavericks good. They got Kyrie, they got him, they got Klay Thompson. So they actually they're filling their roster. But you just don't give away your biggest star. And this GM, I'm telling you, he's like, I hope it works. I'm like, I hope it works. Like, this is your job.
It's like he's in Vegas and he's just all on red. Well, we're going to spend this and... all right, I lost that one. All on black.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I will say this before we get out of the NBA. We're talking about now, which is at least a good, cool situation. There was a 3-team trade. Zach LaVine goes to the Kings. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox has been one of the better players in the NBA for the Kings. He goes to the Spurs to join Wembanyama. He's 25 years old. He's 13th in scoring in the league, 19th in assists. You add him now with Wembanyama, they have their future. The Spurs again. Here we go. Right. The Spurs are always good. They've had a few down years. Now Chris Paul gets to play with 2 All-Stars. Like, watch out for the Spurs in the second half. Where are they in the standing chance? Because I don't think they're in the playoffs.
Spurs or... Yeah, they're out.
So they're right. Look, so I expect them to have a big second half after the All-Star getting Fox. But now they've played. So 2 teams have now secured the future or a star to go with the future. So that's pretty. And then just now breaking happened. Kuzma gets traded for Chris Middleton. I wouldn't bring this up, but I wanted to ask you about this because it's really not that too crazy of a trade. Kuzma's, I think, 29 years old. Middleton's 33 years old. They both kind of average around the same numbers. Middleton has been on the Milwaukee Bucks, who've won a championship and everything. He now goes to
the Wizards,
who are 8-41, worst team in basketball.
I think he just wanted to go to a different city. I really think he just wanted to get out of Milwaukee.
I think he just got traded, so I don't think he had a choice. But could you imagine that? You're lacing up your boots, you're on the top 5 team in the NBA, and next thing you know, you're on the worst team in the NBA that's not going to make the playoffs. Like, that happens
not for the next couple of years.
But that happens all the time, and especially NFL too, where you're like, teams are gearing up for the playoffs, and somebody gets traded, you're like, holy crap, that guy just literally went to the worst team, and now he's not even going to get the playoffs. Like,
and that's usually, when we talk about NFL, it's usually defensive players in that situation.
Yes.
It's usually not offensive players. They usually get traded to what they want or to what benefits them.
Yeah.
It's not a losing out trade.
But yeah, you're like gearing up to go to the playoffs, and next thing you know, you're like, nope, I'll be out and done in 2 weeks. So, but yeah, the NBA crazy week. We laid off for the show because we feel like we deserved it. I will say there was a couple things with the NFL. Chance called Cooper Kupp.
On his way out soon, and it happened to be right this weekend.
And it's not him. LA wants to trade him.
Yeah, that's right.
And he's not. He didn't want. He's like, I don't want to leave. Right. That's weird. I just don't. I know Kupp had a down year, but man,
I think they saw he's more injury prone the older he's gotten, and he's always fought through injuries anyways.
Yeah.
He's always played through them. But he's actually having to consider, do I want to be healthy come playoffs, stuff like that. So now you're missing games.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to see the forest for the trees there, and they're like, he's getting to his top years. He's still going to have some good games and big plays, but is he going to be able to last all season?
What are they going to get for him? A 4th-round pick, maybe? I don't think they're going to get a big thing for him.
If you send him to a team who has, like, I would say New York Giants would be the perfect fit for him if they can find a quarterback, because they're going to have Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
They need a slot receiver who can get open for them. I think that's the type of fit that will benefit them, benefit anybody that can pick up Cooper Kupp. But he's only going to benefit on a team like that. If you put him on a team with another bunch of 4 receivers that are all good, then you're just wasting money.
Well, to me, and speaking of the Giants, there's been rumors Jameis is going to go there.
Saquon talking about sending.
There's rumors that they got a high draft pick. Will they draft Shadur Sanders?
Yep.
That'll be interesting. But Cooper's not the Pro Bowl guy he was. So that's going to be interesting to see where he falls. But I think he could help a team like a Josh Allen. Imagine him going to the Bills. I know they got Shakir. Maybe that is not the right fit.
Actually, I think that would be an amazing fit for him if he gets what he wants out of it.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to come down to the Rams wanting what they want and not caring what he wants as much.
Yeah, okay.
So I think they're going to get what they can out of a crappy team that's going to he's 31 years old.
Yeah.
So
it's not too old, but still, I mean,
it's not too old, but in the NFL,
it is older. Yeah. All right. So speaking of the Pro Bowl, NFC wins 56-50. You called it. I know the score was probably a little different than that because of some of the games they played or whatever.
Yeah, it came to like having the tug of war added points. Yeah.
Golf, offensive MVP, 10 of 11, 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jared Goff, we were talking about him last week. He shines with the best players. I know it was flag. It looks like the lines are going to build around him, and that he is got some little star power.
That's another rumor actually that Cup might go where Goff is. They played together before. So
Brian Murphy, defensive MVP, but him, Branch, and Buda Baker all had pick sixes. Brian Thomas and Jamar Chase, 5 touchdowns together in a losing effort. Obviously, Jamar was playing with Burrow.
And Little Manning was out there.
Yeah, what's his name? Marshall Manning. Marshall Mathers
there and dimes.
Yeah. Malik Neighbors, Juszczyk got a touchdown. Here's what I was going to ask you though about the Pro Bowl. Every year, guys that get picked to the Pro Bowl don't end up playing. This year was Lamar and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And they bring in Russell Wilson and Drake May,
who have been there before already for years.
Russell Wilson and Drake May's a rookie.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, but Drake May, he didn't have that great of a season.
That's what I can't stand that, man.
Him and I think they ran the numbers. Him and Alabama's former that went there,
Mac Jones that one year.
Mac Jones had the same exact numbers in New England.
Yeah.
So I don't think they ever deserve that Pro Bowl, but send them there because there's not a space.
Well, and any of the other positions, it rarely happens that there's going to be some receivers that make the Super Bowl that were in the Super Bowl that made the Pro Bowl that don't go, but it's always the quarterbacks, and we end up with I remember last year it was like 2 of the I'm like, what did they get, the bottom of the barrel quarterbacks to be the Pro Bowl?
Right.
So again, that's another thing too, is if your best players are not going to play, like Josh Allen, I know he just got his feelings hurt and lost the game. Lamar Jackson, who knows? But why are you not going to play the Pro Bowl? It's just, I don't know. That was disappointing to me, and it's happened multiple years where quarterbacks who were 12th in the league or 12th in their division in stats and stuff like that are making the Pro Bowl. That just Russell Wilson did not deserve the Pro Bowl this year.
Not this year. And he might not next year because Pittsburgh already announced they have full faith in Justin Fields to hold the.
Wow, I did not hear that. So that's breaking news right there. So
let me see if I can find that.
All right. So while he's finding that, we'll get to the Senior Bowl that I had the jacket for that I've now shredded. Senior Bowl, American team wins 22-19. Seth Heineken and Riley Leonard were really the two big ones that pressed at quarterback. Heineken went 12 of 14 with 132 yards, 2 touchdowns, or led the last 2 touchdown drives. Let's give a shout out to Jack Beck for TCU, the wide receiver. Lost his older brother, still played in his honor, and won the MVP. 6 catches for 68 yards and the game-winning touchdown. So, man, that's all of that happening, and that's just crazy to see a guy like that can still get over all those emotions and go play in a game and win the MVP. So, shout out to him. That's definitely thoughts and prayers with his family, but that was definitely a sad situation, and he overcame it and played in his brother's honor.
Yeah, so here you go. It's the fans who are out there.
Oh, fans think
Justin Fields will start at QB in 2025 season and are trying to push for it. Okay.
All right, so let's get to the Alabama and Auburn players. I've talked so much about Milroe. I want to get your perspective on what you really think about Milroe, because I'm going to tell you what happened. Obviously, the week leading up to the game wasn't very good. The small hands you talked about. He comes in.
They had a couple good throws.
Sacked twice on one drive that led to a missed field goal. Came in, overshot a 3rd and 9. He got one more shot and was tackled for a loss to cause a turnover on downs.
Yeah.
Where will he be drafted?
I think this is something that Alabama players end up proving year in and year out, is when you put them on the field with the best of the best, they don't dominate because they are used to being on a team of all of the best, and they win so much, and they're so consistent that they beat the other better teams. But then when you put them in the pros like that, a lot of times you'll see the QBs not be able to adapt.
Yeah.
They're not used to having to survive on their
QBs
own.
more in particular. I mean, because we
That's
see a
what
lot.
I mean.
We see a lot
defensive players for Bama always excel.
Yeah.
Receivers obviously have excelled the past
running
10
backs,
years.
with
and
Henry
backs,
and
10 years. Linemen excel.
So quarterback. That's a good point, Chance. Yeah. So Bryce Young finally started getting a little bit. Mac Jones has been traded. Jalen's done well, but remember, he was kind of ended his career at Oklahoma, and Lincoln Riley was the one that supposedly tooled him.
Well, I'll never take that away from Jalen. He was good at Bama.
Yeah.
They just needed something different one game, and it became a whole different situation.
Well, and Tua as well. Tua's been battling injuries and stuff like that. But yes, I think, and I've said it on the show multiple times, especially my Bama segment, he should have stayed one more year at Bama.
Yeah.
I know there was a little bit of like, I just felt like towards the end of it, it was like Bama didn't want him to be there, and I think he could feel that. But I think towards the end of the year, he thought maybe before the last couple games, seeing some of the projections, which I saw the same ones, he was going to be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case now. I think he's a third and fourth round pick, and I think some people are even saying he may not even play quarterback in the NFL, which, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen. But now the Senior Bowl's over. The next step is the Combine. February 27th through March 2nd, and the Combine can change people's lives.
Anthony Richardson, yeah.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Yep.
Noah Ibnami from Trussville.
Yep.
He you knew he's a track star. He's going to go up there and shred all kind of numbers. Worked his way into the first round.
Yep.
So Jalen's going to go up there and run fast. He's going to be more athletic than any quarterback over there. But when you're standing with 20 of your peers throwing the football, I think that's where his stock is going to the Riley Leonards, the Jackson Darts, whoever goes up there, because I know juniors and stuff can go now too.
Yeah.
But I think that he's not going to be able to throw like the Cam Wards and the Sanders and these guys. And
so I agree with you on most of it. The thing they talked about him is his deep ball was the best they saw of all the other quarterbacks there. But they didn't talk about the accuracy of the deep ball. They just said his deep ball.
Yeah.
So, if he can launch it 70 yards every game, cool. But what happens when it's getting picked 3 out of the 4 times?
And that's Anthony Richardson's problem. Joe Milton was another one that had that with Tennessee. They can throw it further than anybody, and all those guys can run faster than anybody.
Yeah.
But it's managing the game and playing a lot like Jalen does. Jalen's kind of the same type of player, but Jalen, I don't. That year at Oklahoma changed him, man. I feel like he let the game come to him instead of forcing issues, and you can see it this year. I mean, they're in a Super Bowl this year because of it. So
if Milroe could watch somebody like Josh Allen, somebody who is not typically a running back style quarterback, if you watch a quarterback like him who still ends up running the ball at least 5 times a game and usually for over 40 yards, you could learn so much, because once you start to adapt your game to that kind of play, you can become a better runner than he already is. And you'll be getting 60 yards a game.
Could Jalen get drafted by like a Broncos or a Chiefs and be a backup to a really good quarterback but have a good coach like Andy Reid or Sean Payton and transform maybe into a quarterback of the future? Is that what you think?
He wouldn't fit the Broncos scheme, and I don't think they would try to design a backup scheme for a backup quarterback. I think they'll try to find somebody that can back up Bo and be that kind of style. The first team he named was Chiefs. No, I don't think they would put him as a backup there either. I think they want a game manager as their backups, because if Mahomes ever goes down, they always need someone who can just finish the game.
Yeah, okay.
I think Milroe will end up in a bad situation with being a backup at Pittsburgh or at maybe the Eagles even behind Jalen, but he won't start or get playing time. Yeah. The only thing I think being a good situation for him would be to end up at where was I thinking of? Arizona. Okay. And wait for Kyler Murray to get out of his way. I think that would be the best fit for him. Yeah,
I like that. I like that a lot. So got the Combine coming up. Senior Bowl's ended. College football really has now come to an end. All right, so let's get to the basketball. We'll run through it real quick. Auburn, again, wins last night. Yeah. Crushes Oklahoma. Beats Ole Miss on the road. Number 1 team in the country, Chance. I mean, this team is complete. They're very good, man. They got to be the national title favorites. I know they lost to Duke, who's number 2. And I don't know if anybody on Auburn could stop Cooper Flagg. Right. But you got to like Auburn's chances to go back to a Final Four this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And if the matchups work where they don't face Duke early on, I see Duke losing to some type of great defensive team, like per se Tennessee. Yeah. I see a team like that being able to keep Cooper Flagg at bay. But
speaking of Tennessee, they get crushed by Florida at home by 30. They crush Florida by 20. This is now back-to-back games Tennessee has held in Auburn and Florida less than 55 points. They're physical. And at home, again, they get away with a lot more of the physicality. I mean, they had 7 scholarship players play against Florida, and they beat them like a drum. Jeez. They just get in you. And so that's a good point. Like, if they get a good officiating crew in the NCAA tournament that lets them get away with a lot of stuff, I mean, watch out. They could go far because like I said, they don't have necessarily the big scoring, but they're a grinded out tight team. And
I haven't seen much of their offense or much of their games, honestly, this year other when they played Auburn. But do they even try to score fast, or do they always control the ball going down court and then just play strong defense?
I mean, they lost
time?
Connect to the Lake. I mean, they lost their top scorer. So again,
Okay.
I think they just really have said, like an old school Pistons team.
Gotcha.
We're just gonna beat the crap out of you and just wear you down. And they've done it too. And Auburn barely escaped at home against them.
Yeah.
And Auburn's destroyed everybody at home.
I guess their theory is we don't have to score every shot we make. We just have to score more than you.
But again, Florida runs that same mentality as Alabama does, is that they live and die by the three.
Yep.
4 for 27 from three.
And when you're playing 15 behind, that's what you start relying on,
Yep.
and then you start getting more drastic about it.
Yeah. So speaking of Bama crushes Georgia, and they beat Mississippi State. I flipped my pick. I thought Sears was going to have a big game. He did. Bama comes back, wins 2 in a row this week. They didn't. They're not playing this week. They'll be back in action this weekend. But it's all leading up to next weekend, and we'll have a preview for that after our Super Bowl, and we go over all the Super Bowl. But next weekend, Alabama versus Auburn. I can't wait to see your preview on that. What you think? It's going to be in Tuscaloosa. Mm-hmm. So this is the last game of the year is in Auburn, which Auburn will probably be favored by 10 points. But Chance is having a mental breakdown right now.
Sinus.
Yeah. He's already thinking about the Alabama Auburn game. It's getting him nervous.
Let's see. It's
So next weekend on the 12th, will be the Alabama Auburn game. We'll have a huge preview after the Super Bowl, like I said.
We got the Florida Auburn game on the 8th.
But
right?
Florida and Auburn, we'll preview that one later this weekend. So Auburn back-to-back top 6 matchups on the weekend. But yeah, Auburn goes to Tuscaloosa next weekend. So that's the game a lot of people are looking at. Yeah, the Auburn-Florida game, people are already lining up outside of Auburn's Coliseum right now. And the game's 4 days away?
So I think schools are seeing how fun it is that, isn't it Duke that does it, or is it North Carolina?
Duke. They do tent.
They do Tent City for a whole month now.
Yeah.
And I think schools are starting to see how fun that can be, because I remember when we were at college, and we did the overnight camp out.
Yeah.
And it was barely.
But Auburn's basketball team they're number one in the country.
Yeah,
so
I can imagine it being fun.
And college basketball has taken over NBA as the big, because there's a lot of stars, a lot of great teams. Obviously, the SEC. The SEC tournament may be better than the NCAA tournament this year. It's that loaded.
Actually.
So, speaking of Duke, Cameron Crazies crushed North Carolina 87-70. Flag has a big game. Duke looks like to be a top 4 team, top 5 team in the country. So they're going to run away with the ACC. I'd love to see Duke play in the SEC this year, because there's nobody that's even giving him any sort of game in the ACC.
They're not.
And the SEC is just every game. It's just this big battle. So, excited about the game this weekend. We'll preview the Auburn-Florida game coming up. But yes, SEC basketball is in full swing, and it's entertaining as it's ever been. That people are camping out 4 days. Hopefully they're going to start camping out 4 days here.
How much are the tickets for those?
I told you this weekend, $500 is the average ticket for the Auburn-Florida game.
Okay.
Yes.
That's right. It hadn't gone up since we found that out last time.
May have not.
Let me see. Auburn, Florida. It's the 8th.
Yeah, so over $500 for tickets. Like I said, we'll hopefully make you over $500 on our picks coming up in the picks. So stay tuned. Chance going to get that info. We'll have it for you. Tide and Tigers. Pick them coming up next.